Good afternoon, David.
And we're back.
What's up with the goat hat?
Well, I don't know. I just wanted to mix it up.
The Duke hat was getting played out.
Well, Duke hat will be worn on Monday because that's when they start their season. And the goat hat is really for Patrick Mahomes. So I should be wearing this Sunday, but I'll wear it today.
Okay. How'd we do last night?
Last night was ugly. Went 2-5. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty forgettable.
Oh, I was 6-4.
That's better than.
And I was super close to being 8-2. I would have been 8-2 if Jokic had one more rebound and Wendell Carter had one more rebound.
Yeah.
I would have been 8-2.
Yeah, it's sad that one of my two wins was actually a triple double too.
Yeah. Wow.
Trying to look at. Yeah.
I should have just done the Jokic triple double instead of the rebounds.
Right. I was hit on that one.
I'd like to just bring up real quickly though. We failed to mention that Robinson Earl, who I won a bet on yesterday, going over 7.5 points. It was unbeknownst to us. It was his birthday yesterday. So.
Oh, your line was 7.5. I was kind of following the game, thinking it was 8.5.
He still ended up with 9 though, didn't he? Or 10?
He?
10, I think. 10.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He had like 8 in the first quarter, I think, and then he was just stuck there for a long time. So I was wondering if you
that line may have gone up to 8.5. I mean, that was early in the day that it was 7.5. So it could have. You may have looked at FanDuel and saw it at 8.5 or something.
It's whatever we say on this show.
Oh, that's it. That's
it.
it.
That's gospel.
I'd also like to point out that Bill Kennedy, his game went over last night. He's now 6-1 to the over.
He was on the Nuggets game. Is that right?
He was on the Nuggets game. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
I have a few. I have. There's several tonight. If you want me to run through them, or you want me to touch on them when we get to the game.
Yeah, hit them while we go into the game because we'll talk briefly about the over and the totals. Then.
Okay. Got it.
All right. And there is a birthday to discuss today.
Yes, there is.
We'll get to that in a minute. I'm excited about that.
There's no lines out yet for him, though. But
the line's going to be 80 points. All right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right. So let's dive. Huge slate tonight. 12 games. Might be the largest slate we've had all year, right?
Until Monday.
Monday's a monster day.
First time in NBA history, I believe.
Yeah.
15 game slate.
Well, if we go at this pace, we'll end up running right into the start of the first game. So let's jump into the first one. We're looking at the Cavs at the Pistons. Cavs are off to an amazing start at 6-1, and the Pistons are hanging in there at 2-7. Pistons are plus 6.5. The total is 221.5 when I looked it up earlier. The big question mark on this game is whether or not Mitchell is going to play. So he was a question mark. And because of that, some of the lines on the Cavs side are not available. But I grabbed something earlier, which we'll talk about in a minute. But go ahead.
So just talking through the game, James Capers is the crew chief tonight. So far this season, the favorites have been our 5-1 against the spread. Okay. James Capers game, so that would be Cleveland -6, which I do like. So worth noting. Moving over to
Sharps were on the Pistons, but maybe they have some intel on Mitchell. So
yeah, could be. So matchup wise, against Cleveland, we're going to want to fade your guards, your point guards, and your combo guards. There's been 0 impact games allowed by the Cavs this year from either of those positions, surprisingly, or not surprisingly. It's pretty good defensively. So wings and forwards are who we're going to want to target from against Cleveland. And on the Detroit side, it's really the only one that's not really. Yeah, it won't pay to go through all of them. It's anyone. There's no one really to target. You could target anybody. So,
Okay.
yeah. I have a couple plays here that I like. Darius Garland, 7.5 assists. I like it because point guards against Detroit in these impact games, they're averaging 7 assists a game. That's games from Holiday, Trey, Steph. So I like Garland there. I don't like it as much if Mitchell's not playing. And I would probably switch over. If Mitchell's not playing, I would definitely go to Garland on the points. So I think we can discuss that later today because I do like Mitchell 25.5 points if he plays and Garland assists, but that would change depending on injury news. So just something to point out.
Yeah.
And then Mobley over 7.5 rebounds I like in this game.
He looked Garland looked really good. I think last game was his first game back. He was firing away. So it's going to have a negative impact on Mitchell's production in terms of points, but obviously makes them a much better team. So yeah, I like that. So we'll stay put there. I had one play on the Cleveland side. I liked Allen rebounds as well. I'm not even sure what the line is. When I looked at it earlier, it was 10.5.
I think that's what I saw.
Yeah, minus 130. He's done that in his last 5 games. He's averaging 13.6 rebounds. So this seemed like a no-brainer. That Detroit's the 27th worst rebounding team. So
yeah,
obviously he's got more competition within his own team for rebounds than he does probably with Detroit. But again, we'll have to see where that line settles after the news on Mitchell comes out. I also like LeVert. He also had a over 1.5 threes, so 2 threes. He's done that in 6 of 7 games. I know you've been on him a couple games so far, right?
Yeah, he worries me with Garland being back. I feel like he's the odd man out if Mitchell plays. He's also one of those black hole kind of guys. The ball's. Though we've been playing his assists a bit, he seems to be, when you watch him, he's one of those players that is probably not the most fun to play with.
Yeah, I was worried about that too. I looked at his production for the last game. I think he had 15 points and 3 threes in the previous game, even with Garland there. So.
Yeah.
We'll see. He seems to be getting the minutes, but keep an eye on those 2 guys. Did you have anybody on the Detroit side?
No.
Bojan threes maybe is kind of what I was looking at. It's over 2.5. He's hit that in 8 of 9 games, which is pretty good. Minus 160. That was probably the best play on that side.
I feel like there's going to be a little regression from him, possibly. I don't know. I feel like he's got off to a hot start. One theory is I guess you could keep riding him, and the other one is I feel like it's gonna come back. Though forwards against Cleveland are one of the better positions. I mean, Tatum's had 2 great games. Banchero's had a great game. Scotty Barnes. Those guys averaged 26, 8, and 5 from the forward position in those games. So there's a good chance Bojan could get there.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about they're going to score 110 points in the game, probably, or 105 points. Yeah. Somebody's got to score them, right? They don't have a ton of offensive weapons.
Good point.
I think he's going to get there. All right. Move on to the next game.
Yep.
Get the Heat at the Pacers. Heat are 4-5. Pacers are 3-5. Pacers are getting 3.5 points at home, and the total is 226.5. Big note for this game, Jimmy Butler's out. So,
that's why I don't see any Miami lines yet.
Yeah, I don't either. The guy that, I'll let you go through your matchups in a second, but the guy who kind of stands out as potentially having a big game is Tyler Hero. So I'm curious if that lines up well with kind of your assessment.
It does. It does. The two positions to target against Indiana, pretty much you can target anybody. One you would want to fade is traditional point guards. So they have not had. It's the only position that hasn't had success against the Pacers so far this year. So that would take us off Kyle Lowry tonight. But wings, averaging 24, 5, and 4 with 3.5 3-pointers per game. So that puts me on Tyler Hero big time tonight. Also, if any lines came out on, especially with Jimmy out, there'd probably be some lines on Duncan Robinson. He probably gets some more run tonight. I would also look at him for threes based on this matchup.
Yeah, there was a day where you could, FanDuel would give you Duncan Robinson like 9 threes you can go for.
They don't do it anymore.
They don't do that.
No. They're getting burned. Yeah.
So it's too bad because this could be one of those 9-game threes. If
all those ones we used to hit, like the 20 plus, 25 plus, you don't get that next tier. Like you don't get that guy going to 30 points and it's going to be plus 800 or plus 1,000. They cap it at like that plus 300, plus 400.
Not worth it for them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Bam I saw was questionable too, so just keep an eye on that. That's going to be a very different game if both of those guys are out.
Yeah, so a lot of question marks. I had one play from this game on the Pacers side. It's kind of random, but because I saw here that where is my line here? In impact games against Miami from big men, they're averaging 4 assists per game. Miles Turner's line is 1.5 assists. Only the 3 games he played this year, he had 2 in every game. So I like that small number to get 2 assists. That's my only play from this game as of now.
Yeah, we're shying away from Halliburton until he proves himself again.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So next game we got Knicks at the Sixers. Knicks are 3-4. Sixers are 4-5. Sixers are minus 2.5 at home, and the total is 219. Obviously, big news. Harden is out, not just for this game, but for the next month. Embiid was also a game time decision. I don't know if he's been ruled out yet. And then I assume this is where your birthday news comes in.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I see the smirk. Let's hear it. Whose birthday is
Tyrese Maxey.
What is he
It's
turning?
his birthday.
Like
I didn't look
old?
to see what he's turning. No.
Yeah. I mean,
22?
probably around there.
Yeah, something like that. Not only that, but before we get into the matchups, just there's a note here on the refs. So John Gobble's the crew chief tonight. He is 4-0-1 with the underdogs against the spread. So that would put us on Knicks plus 3.5. I don't know if there's any sharp action and it jives.
Yeah, the sharps were on the Knicks.
Okay,
a little bit of action there.
So we'll see how that pans out. Getting back to Tyrese Maxey, not only is it his birthday, but the one position you really want to target against the Knicks is combo guards. They're in their impact games is 27, 3, and 8 is their line, and averaging 4 threes in those games. So I like those stats from Maxey. There's no lines out yet, so I don't have anything to propose, but that will be a play later today. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, you got to figure his line's going to come out at like 25 without Harden, especially if Embiid's not playing. I'd go for it.
Yeah,
I think he's going to have a big game. He's turning 20, or he turned 22 today, which means he was born in the year 2000.
Year 2000.
All right, that'll be a fun game though.
Yeah,
the city of Philly probably needs that win. They're starting to feel a little down.
I'd say so. But they got the Phillies. Well, I guess.
The Eagles.
Oh, you're saying
Eagles.
About the Phillies? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and the Eagles. Yeah.
All right. Next game, we got the Nets at the Warriors. Nets are. I don't have the record here. It's not good. And the Wizards are also not great, but not bad. All right, that's my records for them. The total is what do you got there? 220, 222. I think I had and a half. Real solid analysis on this game so far. And, obviously the big news, Kyrie's out for 5 games. And Simmons is still out. So it's the Durant show tonight.
Yes, it is the Durant show. I don't know. I'm kind of shying away from Brooklyn. KD came out some stuff today about, it doesn't seem like it's the game where he's going to want to go out and put a big number up. I feel like he's pissed off at the situation, and I just feel like there's so much uncertainty in Brooklyn right now that I'm just kind of staying away from that side. I think there's nothing I really love. KD's lines are going to be huge tonight because Kyrie is not there. So it just seems pretty crazy. One thing I did want to point out, though, is where was it? Oh, no, sorry. That's on the Washington side. You have anything for Brooklyn?
Just KD, but again, I was afraid to go anywhere near his lines. Even his 3-pointers are up. Everything's up. So I actually went with his blocks. It's juicy, minus 170 for a block. Mm-hmm. But he's done that in 7 of 8 games. And he's had multiple blocks in 5 of those 7 games. So I think he's out on the floor almost the whole game, and he's a long defender. He's gonna get his hands on something. So and it's gonna be a relatively high scoring game. So I see him getting a block, even if they lose by 30, which is very possible in this game. The morale, the focus, everything of this team is just really, really messed up right now. So this one could get out of hand, and it could be the beginning of an implosion in Brooklyn.
Yes, it could. From the Washington side, the 2 positions we want to target against Brooklyn are bigs, which we've been speaking about this early season, and wings. Wings against Brooklyn are averaging 26, 4, and 5 with averaging just under 5 threes per game.
Wow.
So that puts me on Bradley Beal over 1.5 threes. His last 2 games against Brooklyn, he had 3 in both games. So that's one play there based on the matchup. And the other matchup was bigs are the guys to target. So that would be Kristaps Porzingis, 9.5 rebounds. Bigs are averaging 12 against Brooklyn. KP had I think KP had 12 rebounds in his last 4 games against Brooklyn. Is that correct?
It's hard to put a lot of value in last year, right?
In last year,
they were better, right? You're saying against his last 4 games against Brooklyn, which would
against Brooklyn, yeah.
I mean they actually had a better rebounding team, I think, last year, right?
They had Drummond there, right?
For part of the season.
It wasn't his last 4. It was just the one game he played against them last year. He had 12 rebounds. So nothing crazy, just like the matchup. Was looking to get something out of this game. I thought the bigs were good, so I'll stick with it. KP 9.5 rebounds.
Yeah, I'm looking at what he's done his last. Yeah, he's last 2 games were both against Philly. He put up 9 and 9. Put up 13 against Boston, which I think is a fairly equivalent
to Brooklyn.
Equivalent assessment of what he could do against Brooklyn. So
it's a good point.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the best one to look at.
Okay.
All right, very good. Moving on, we got the Bulls at the Celtics. This is the first ESPN game for the night. Bulls are 5-4. Celtics are 4-3. Celtics are -7.5, and the total is 222.5. Sharps are on the Bulls, and these two teams played on October 24th in I think it was in Chicago, that one, and the Bulls won 121-02. So this is a revenge game for the Celtics, perhaps.
Perhaps, yes. I like it. I don't have anything game-wise on this based on refs. What I do have matchup-wise is on the Chicago side against the Bulls. We're going to want to fade point guards, so that will take us off Marcus Smart and Brogdon tonight, probably.
Right.
You do want to target wings and forwards for the Celtics. That's the two primary guys, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Brown had 21, 6, and 2 the last time they played. Tatum at 26, 8, and 5 with 4 threes. So I like where's my play from Tatum over 2.5 threes. This is going to be my play from the Boston side on that game. And then on the Chicago side against Boston, the main position to target is bigs. In impact games against Boston, bigs are averaging 14 rebounds, so I'm going to take Vucevic over 11.5 rebounds tonight.
Yeah. How many did he have in the prior game? Do you know?
He had 23.
Against Boston?
Against Boston, yeah. He was 18, 23, and 5.
Wow. That seems like a good one.
Yeah.
I liked, am I saying his name right? Dosumu?
Ayo?
Yep, from the Bulls.
Yeah.
His points line is 11.5 points. He's done that in 4 of 5 games, 4 of the last 5 games, averaging in those games 14.2 points. So clearing it pretty significantly. That was also combine that with the fact that the last game they played about 10 days ago or so, he went 22, 6, and 2. So seems to be a good matchup against them. I think he's going to clear that 11.5 points sometime in the third quarter.
All right. I like that. Did you look at anything? Did you look into Jaylen Brown at all?
I didn't. I saw somebody was on his threes, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that something you're looking at?
So he had 2 the last time they played, but wings have had not only success against Chicago, but recent success. You had Royce O'Neal, Buddy Hield, Jaylen Brown, Bradley Beal, Max Strus, Tyler Hero. They've all had monster games within the last week and a half against Chicago, and averaging 4 threes. Those guys in those games. So I was thinking about doing Tatum threes over and Brown threes over threes in this game. But wanted to see if you had any thoughts on that.
No, I didn't really focus much on the Celtics side. I don't know. The totals, like I said, 222.5. Sharps are on the under.
Yeah.
So
okay,
but still a decent number of points in scoring.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. That's all I got. Yep.
All right. So we got the Hornets at the Grizzlies. Hornets are 3-5. Grizzlies are 5-3. Big spread on this game. 11.5 points going to the Hornets, and the total is 227.5. Gordon Hayward out for the game, which is probably why that line is so huge. And that's really
Rozier's also still out, right?
He said game time decision, but he's probably out.
Yeah, he hasn't. Has he played yet? Has he come back? He hasn't played. I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
So go ahead. I'll look that up while you.
All right. So this one's pretty simple. Memphis has been terrible defensively so far to start this season. You can target any position against them. They've given up. I think it's 25 impact games or something like that so far this season. You compare that to teams like Dallas. I think have only had like 9 impact games allowed all season. So
their goal is just to outscore you. That's how they win.
Yeah. And on the on the Hornets side, the two positions we're going to want to target are your guards. So it's putting me on John Morant. It's a high line, 28.5. But I think he hasn't gotten there, right, in the past few games. And this is kind of like it's been the Desmond Bain show, right?
Yeah.
Lately?
I was on Bain, so.
You are? Okay.
I am.
So all right, then we'll duke it out then. We'll see who the guy from the Grizzlies will be tonight. I'm going to take Morant, 28.5 points, and let's hear what you got.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible they could both surpass their line. So Bain was at 21.5 points. Looking at his last 4 games, he's averaging 32 points per game. So just dominating that line. The thing with Bain that I wanted to also bring up, we started looking at something yesterday, which was just the percent of points scored in the first half of the game versus the second half of the game. Bain is probably the most extreme player, scoring 69% of his points in the second half. Now he does play a little bit more, probably about 55% of his playing time comes in the second half. But, that's still disproportionate scoring in the second half. So, I think an interesting play on him is just kind of do a live bet on him, see where his scoring is at halftime. If his starting line is 21.5, maybe he puts up 8 points in the first half, then you jump on a line that might be closer to 19 points. So I would be comfortable going for this line at the start of the game. But I would also keep an eye on it in the middle of the game and see if that trend holds. The only risk there, you got a total that's a spread that's 11.5 points. So the only risk is that they blow him out and then he doesn't play in the fourth quarter. So it's just maybe not the best game to deploy that strategy.
We did it last night with SGA, right?
Yeah, SGA, it worked out. He also exploded in the first half, which kind of made it not look like it was going to hold, but he still had a strong second half.
Yeah.
Just it's interesting to kind of study this. The other guys who kind of fall into a similar profile in the league, where they do most of their scoring, probably 65% or more of their scoring in the second half, are Beal, Ingram, Simons, Giannis, and Kyrie.
Okay.
So those are the guys, of the big point scorers who kind of really turn it up in the second half. Guys who are on the other side of the coin who come out of the gate, quickly and then start to fade. And it's funny. I would say all these guys have injury problems in the past, or are probably not in the best shape or whatever. But you got Lillard, Luka, and AD, right? So these are guys who are great players, but they probably run out of gas in the second half. So those guys are all dominant first half players, fade in the second half. So
interesting. I think probably especially early in the season, maybe they don't have their legs yet or something. I don't know. So that's interesting.
Yeah, they're also especially Lillard and Luka. They're just like gamers who get up for the game and kind of come out strong. So something we'll just keep studying as the year progresses.
Sure.
But really interesting cut.
For sure.
Okay.
I just had on this game another ref thing. Yeah, James Williams is the crew chief. The team that's got the money on the money line is 1-5 so far this season in his games. Charlotte right now is 56% of the money line money. So that would put us on Memphis to win this game. I don't think it's a bet we'd make at minus 625, but just something to think about.
Yeah, way to go out on a limb there.
Yeah, just studying the trends.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the seventh game of the night is the Clippers, your home team, at the Spurs. Clippers are 4-4, starting to turn it around. Spurs are 5-2, also outperforming kind of where they've expected to be this year. Injuries, Kawhi is still out, and Vassell is back. That's your boy. I'm sure you're all over him tonight.
You know it.
Spurs are getting 4.5 points. Total is 225.
All right, two things to note on this game from the refs. 2 plays, actually. Sean Wright is your crew chief. Favorite is 5-1 against the spread. So that's the Clippers. It opened at -3.5. It's up to -4.5 now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the side with the money in terms of total, he's 5-1 in those games. Right now, there's 94% of the money's on the over. So that would also be the bet based on how his games have come out so far, over 225.
Yeah, sharps are on the over as well.
All right.
One of the few games, almost all the games today, they're on the unders. I think there were like 2 or 3 games that they were on the over. This was one of them.
Okay. That's jiving. I like it. All right. Matchup-wise, against the Clippers, we're going to want to fade forwards. Haven't done well so far this year. Clippers have been pretty good defensively to start the season, but a couple positions we can target. Wings. You've had good games from Dort, Booker, Kevin Huerter, Lonnie Walker. 25, 3, and 4 is what they're averaging. Point guards also averaging 2 steals a game, 29, 6, and 6, and big men. So what does that lead me to on the Spurs? You have Devin Vassell, their wing. I got 2 plays. I like his points, 15.5. I think that's definitely low. It was up to like before he got hurt. I think it was closer to 20, based on the way he started the season. And then also 2.5 threes I like on Vassell tonight.
Yeah, so we had this same conversation about Michael Porter Jr. yesterday. We were both on it, and you went with the threes, and I went with the points, and the threes cashed, and the points did not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So same deal here. Although, before you move on, Vassell's point line is -130 for 15.5 points, but his 3 line at 2.5, also equally compelling, is at +120. So plus money for the threes. So either that's really good value or a trap. So
Interesting.
So which of those are you going with?
I think I would do the opposite here. The 3 threes is I think he gets there, but for some reason I like him getting 16 points. I think it's more attainable for him.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think he's close on those threes every game. And the points, his last 3 games that he played, he was 23, 22, 23 points. So I think that's a safer bet, even though you're paying a little bit more juice. It's not bad at -130.
Okay. Another one from the San Antonio side is Jakob Poeltl, 9.5 rebounds. Bigs are averaging 12 rebounds a game against the Clippers. So I like that line.
You just wanted to say his name, didn't you?
Jakob Poeltl.
Going up against Zubac too, huh? That's surprising.
Yes. That's what bigs are averaging 22, 12, and 5 with the steal against the Clippers. That was Zion, LeBron, Alperen Şengün, another good name. So that's what I got there. And then one other one that I was into, point guards against the Clippers have also had success. So I like Trey Jones, 6.5 assists tonight. He's done it in 4 of his last 5, and on 1-day rest, he's done it in 8 of his last 10 games.
Okay, I like that too, especially in a high-scoring game.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all I got. I got nothing from the Clippers side.
Yeah, I had nothing else. It was just on Vassell. I was struggling to find something here. All right, next game we got Raptors at the Mavs. I'm excited about this game.
Yes.
It's always fun. Like you and I were just talking the other day. The Raptors are fun. They're like they're so athletic, and I don't know. They're fairly deep. They got like 6 or 7 guys that are like really solid players. They're probably missing one piece, but they're fun. And then the Mavs, are kind of the opposite. They're not very deep, but Luka is just such a special player. So put those two together. It's gonna be a fun game. Mavs are -3.5 at home. Total is 216.5, so pretty low. What do you like here? I got a special play for this one.
You do, huh?
You're gonna cringe when you hear this.
This is an interesting game for me. So I like what you were saying about Toronto. I love Toronto. I think in my mind that they're similar. Obviously, not nearly the success that the Golden State Warriors have had, but there's something to the continuity of their team that guys know where each other's going to be. They know their tendencies. These guys have all been playing together for quite a while now, and I like that. The consistency goes a long way to success.
They got a good mix of veteran and youth too, right? So
Yep.
I think that's also key to a championship level team.
Yes. So I have one ref play on here tonight. This is the most compelling of the night. Tony Brothers, the underdog, is 6-1 against the spread in his game so far this season. So that's Toronto. It opened at +4.5. It's down to +3.5 now. But that would be the play from this game. Any sharp action jiving with that, or
The sharps are on the Mavs.
okay?
But I'm feeling the Raptors plus points in this one. I mean,
Yes, sir.
They just destroyed the Spurs the other night. I think they played the Spurs, right? Didn't they win by like 40 points or something?
Yep.
And they didn't even have FEV. He's back, I think, tonight. So yeah.
All right. Here's my matchup here. So going up against Toronto, who do we want to fade? Who has not? What position hasn't had a single impact game against the Toronto Raptors? Point guards.
Yeah, I was gonna say point guards, mostly because of Fred.
Yeah. The only point guards with decent games against the Raptors so far this season have been Trae Young. But you want to hear what his decent game was? 14, 0, and 10. And James Harden, 18, 7, and 9. Those not great games. So
not for their standard, yeah.
Not for their exactly, not for their standards. So that's going to lead me to fade. I'm not going to do an under, but I'm fading Luka tonight. We're not going to get anything involved on Luka's number. His lines are so high anyway that we're going to stay away.
I'm getting involved.
Oh yeah. Okay, I want to hear it. Let me cover the other side here. Dallas. We're just going to want to stay away completely from Dallas. They've only allowed 3 30-point scorers the entire season so far. That was one game against the Nets where Durant and Kyrie both were over 30, and then the only other one was SGA. That's it. They've only allowed 10 impact games across the board all season. So I'm staying away. I got one play from this game, but I want to hear your special here.
The Luka special, I'm going under 2.5 threes.
There we go. I love it.
At +110.
Dude.
So he has crossed 3 threes, over 2.5 threes. So he's hit 3 threes or more in only 1 out of 7 games, and you're getting plus money. So I like, obviously, the historical pattern. What I also like is his attempts have also come down. So in the first couple of games of the season, he was shooting really poorly. I think he's shooting 23% right now from 3.
Yep.
But he was shooting like 9, 10, 11 threes in the game. In the last couple of games, he's reduced his three-point shooting down to 6 a game. So obviously, he's going to have to shoot probably closer to 50% in order to get this, and he's not even shooting over 25%. So it's scary. It's really scary because Luka is, Luka, and he can train 3 threes in a 2-minute period. But you got to go with the trend. You got to take advantage of the fact that you get plus money for it. So Luka under 2.5 threes.
Luka under 2.5 threes. I like it. I'm just going over here to see in those two
Let the record
games.
stand that Tom just said
Trey only had one in that game,
Yeah.
and Harden had three. But that was I like it. I like it.
I would like the record to show that Tom just supported an under bet.
I did. It jived with what I was. I didn't have a play, but I love the fact that I came out saying fade point guards. Look at how terribly they've done, and that was your play. That's awesome.
Okay.
Here's my play from the game. So I am on. Oh, so I didn't bring this up. So the one position that you do want to target against the Raptors are combo guards. Surprisingly, they've had a lot of success. I think that's because Gary Trent is guarding them. Mm-hmm. They're averaging 31, 4, and 7 with 4.5 threes made in those games. So I'm going to stay away from the threes. Dinwiddie is their combo guard. I'm going to take his points, 15.5 over.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
like
play.
that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen what he's done in the last couple of games, but he is usually flirting with about 15 points every
So
game.
he's done it in 3 of his last 5.
Okay.
He's had 20 in the 3 games he covered. He had 24, 20, and 20.
Nice.
And then two games he didn't cover was 11 and 12. But yeah,
Feast
I think
or
he
famine.
somebody's got to score there.
All right.
And if Luke is held in check, somebody else is going to pick up that scoring. So it's going to be Mr. Spencer Dinwiddie.
All right, cool.
All right.
Anything else from this game?
Nope, that's it.
All right, next game, the Warriors. So remember, like 3 episodes of the show ago, we said these guys are ridiculous, saying the Warriors are falling apart, and then everybody got calm. Now everybody's thinking the Warriors are falling apart again. They're 3-6 to start the season. Just lost to the Magic last night, which was a really good game, but they were up by a large margin for most of the game, and then blew it in the end. So,
And that's after losing to Detroit and Charlotte over the weekend.
yeah, what's scary to me is they're not really missing any players, right? So, if they got most of the team intact, like what is going on? Is this just a hangover from the Draymond incident before the season, or like they're just not closing games out?
I was listening to something the other day that was talking about how Wiggins defense is like not nearly as good as it was last year. So that's a problem for them. So I think defensively they're saying you got to have Looney and Draymond out there defensively, but then that kind of takes away some of your ability to score. So yeah, I don't know. I think they're still working it through, but I'm sure I don't have any doubt that Steve Kerr and the Warriors, will be saying something different 10, 15, 20 games from now. For sure.
They'll be fine in 2 weeks when they have Kevin Durant.
Could be.
That's after tonight. The Nets are imploding. All right, so they're 3-6. They're going up against the Pels, who are 4-3. Pels are -4 in the game, and the total's the highest total for the night. I think 234. Ingram, I think, was a game time decision, so he might be back tonight, and everybody else seems to be playing.
Yes. So matchup wise against Golden State, it really anywhere. I'm not going to lock in on anyone. It's any position really is doing well against the Warriors right now. And against the Pelicans, not so much. Their defense has been pretty stout to start the season. The only position having any decent success is big men, averaging 21, 9, and 4 with 2 blocks. But I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be Draymond. I don't think Wiseman will do that. So I'm staying away. I got nothing on the Golden State side, but I do have a few on the New Orleans side.
Good. Yeah, I don't have anything on on either side because I was also leaning towards the Pelicans, but it looks like Ingram's going to play. So
That's
now
what it looks
lines
like.
are out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So who are you liking there?
So I like Ingram if he's playing. His point line 20.5. He was crushing that before he got hurt. Against Golden State last year, he had 32, 11, and 6. And forwards have been doing well against Golden State, averaging 23, 5, and 4. With 2.5 threes per game. So I like that for Brandon Ingram over 20.5 points.
Okay.
I like Zion, 3.5 assists. He had 7 in both of the last 2 games. It's a little dicey because Ingram wasn't playing in those games. And it was they were doing a little bit of a point Zion kind of thing.
Right.
So not as confident, but I think it continues. The line's kind of low, and big men and forwards are both averaging 4 assists per game against Golden State. So I like Zion to get there. And then this one is cute. Joe Val, 1.5 assists. His last 2 games against Golden State, he had 4 in both of those games. And since last season, he's covering this at a 77% clip on 1-day rest. So a couple compelling stats there. And it's a nice small number to.
Yeah, I mean, all he has to do is, kick the ball out, and McCollum drains a 3. Ingram gets a little pull up. That's it right there. So I like that.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
It's hard though. That team doesn't have a lot of historical games to go on.
You're saying with Zion and Ingram?
Yeah, with Zion and McCollum and like Ingram, and it's still trying to figure out whose role is what. But what I can say in the few games they played together, Ingram's the primary, regardless of Zion getting all the attention. Ingram's the primary scorer, and I think he's going to continue to be. So. That line seems low. He'll probably end up, if he plays 30 minutes,
I think he crushes it.
With 25 plus points. So.
And I was trying to see if he was on any minutes restriction tonight, but it doesn't seem that he's going to be. So
he had a concussion. It's not like he had an ankle injury or something like that. So I think he'll, as long as his head's working, he'll be back in action.
Yeah.
All right. It was so weird how he got that concussion too. He got poked in the eye or something, and
it was very strange.
It was a very strange play. All right. Next game, second ESPN game. Bucks at the Timberwolves. Bucks are 7-0, which is pretty amazing considering they've started the season without, probably their second best player in Middleton, and then T-Wolves are 4-4. Pretty disappointing start to the season, I would say. They haven't played a lot of great teams, and they are 500. So I think the Gobert cat experiment so far is not working very well, so they're going to have to figure that out.
Yep.
T-Wolves are plus 3.5 at home. The total is 227. What do you like?
In this game, I don't like a lot in this game. Milwaukee's only allowed, just like Dallas, only 10 impact games the entire season. The one position that you can try to target them with is we're going to look at it as just guards in general, point guards and combo guards, averaging 28, 7, and 4 in impact games against them. It seems a little strange because that's Drew Holiday,
right,
one of the best defenders in the league on them. But I don't know, he's getting a little bit older and whatever. So that would be the only one against Milwaukee. So that's going to put me on D'Angelo Russell, 1.5 threes made. Minnesota's on 2 days rest today. On his last 11 games on 2 days rest, he's hit that in 8 of them. And against Milwaukee 2 times last year, he had 3 and 4. So he cleared both times against Milwaukee.
Okay.
And then on the Minnesota side, it's also they don't have I guess that's with Gobert and whatnot. There's not a ton to target except for forwards. averaging 25, 5, and 4. And this is the one that gave me this play, averaging 4.5 threes made per game. So it's putting me on Giannis to have a 3. Against Minnesota last year, he had 3 threes the one time they played. They're on the road. Giannis has cleared 1 3 in 8 of his last 10 road games and 21 of his last 30. And like I said before, the forwards, big men, averaging 4.5 threes per game against Minnesota. So.
Yeah, I actually was looking at that play too. I think the only reason why I didn't put it down was just the juice. I think it was pretty, minus 240 for 1-3. So it's.
I think you got a good shot too because you have Rudy, that's going to be defending down low, so it's going to give him more opportunities to shoot from outside. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I like those. The one play I had is also an under for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Gobert under 12.5 points. So Gobert's only gone above 12 points in 3 of 8 games this season. Those were where he had 23 points against OKC, 15 points in the second game versus OKC, and 22 points against the Lakers. So not really teams that have a big down low presence. I think the Bucks are. I think they might be the best defensive team in the league, right?
Yeah.
Now, and
that's without their second best player, which is crazy to think about.
And Giannis is a beast, and also Lopez is I believe leading the league in blocks.
So, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So they got 2 pretty good rim defenders going up against Gobert, who hasn't really figured it out yet in the new team. Under 12.5 points, I think he'll end up with 10. 11. It'll be close, but I don't think he'll get there.
Yeah, he hasn't been getting there. So
yeah. All right. And then next game we got the Blazers at the Suns. Blazers are 5-2. Suns are 6-1. Suns are minus 10.5 in the game. The total's 220. Blazers are without Lillard, I believe, still, and Simons was also questionable for the game, so I'm not really sure who's playing if those 2 guys are out. And then the Suns have Ayton coming back tonight.
I'll tell you who will be playing if those 2 guys are out. It'll be the Josh Hart show.
Josh Hart show.
Be all over Josh Hart. But there's no lines out for Portland right now. So
yeah.
Game-wise, Kevin Scott is the crew chief tonight. Underdogs are 5-1 against the spread in his game, so that would put us on Portland plus 10.5. Just a note there. That's a lot of points. So I kind of like that. I'm feeling that as well. Other than that, I couldn't really get anything on this game. There was no Portland lines out, and nothing was super compelling for me on the Phoenix side.
Yeah. What I would suggest on a game like this, very similar to what I looked at for the Magic and Golden State last night. Got a big line, but the Suns are going to win this game, most likely. But I don't think they're going to win by more than 15. So you can look at, I didn't put this together yet, but you can look at something like Blazers plus 17 and Suns money line. Put those 2 together. You basically thread the needle. You got to land in between those 2, but
interesting.
Probably get plus money on something like that, and I think it'll work.
That's fun. I like that.
It's fun if it works.
Yeah. Well, actually, I just see one note I had here. There was no bet because there was no lines out on. Oh wait, is Ayton playing?
Yeah, I think he's back tonight.
Okay. He's not a tremendous block guy, but bigs are averaging 2.8 blocks per game against Portland. So something to think about when his line comes out later, possibly.
Yeah, I'm just double checking. I don't see his lines out right now, but I do see.
Yeah,
I see the Suns lines out, so that makes me think maybe he's out. No, he's still a game time decision. So,
okay,
we'll see.
Yep.
All right, and then the final game, Jazz at the Lakers. Jazz are 6-3, playing great. Lakers are 2-5. Look like they're on a trajectory to do well, but they were a lucky shot away from being 1-6. So
Yep.
don't buy into Lakers yet. Lakers are -3. Total is 226. And who do you like here?
So second most compelling item on the board here in terms of refs. Josh Tiven is the crew chief tonight. Favorites are 6-0 against the spread. In his 6 games he's officiated so far this season, so that would put us on Lakers -3.
Yeah, that's where the sharps are.
Okay, all right. Against Utah, you can play anybody. Everyone's crushing against Utah. 24 impact games allowed. The only one that's not having tremendous success are forwards, but you can really you can find success anywhere. And then from the Lakers side, bigs and point guards are the 2 positions with success against the Lakers. So I got 2.5 plays from this game. I like Kelly Olynyk, 3.5 assists tonight.
All right.
I don't have a bunch of backup here, but it was one. It was one that I was feeling. I don't remember exactly why. I think he's got
nice long hair. That's probably why you went with
it. He's done it in 6 of 9 games to start the season. So I like that, and then I also like Jared Vanderbilt. Over 7.5 rebounds. 3 games against the Lakers. Last year he had 9, 12, and 16. And big men are averaging 13 rebounds a game against the Lakers. So I thought that was a nice low number. I like that on Vanderbilt. And then I got one play on the Lakers, but the line was not out yet. I want to bet on Russell Westbrook tonight.
Yeah, he looked good.
He looked great. He looked great. The dude was his last 2 games. It was the game against Denver, and then that last game against New Orleans, right? I think, yeah.
You want double, don't you?
I don't know, but I like his attitude. I watched the end of that game where they won. They came back and won. He was like super into it. He was jumping up and down, like super excited. And then if you look at like the way he played the last 2 games, he was setting screens. He's moving without the ball. I mean, Russell Westbrook never does that kind of stuff, right? And the last 2 games, he has been. He even got he was 2 for 4, I think, against Denver from 3. He had like a heat check. He hit 2 in a row. He came back down. He had like a heat check for that 3rd one. He ended up missing. But I feel like, I don't know, something clicked in his mind maybe. And I kind of want to jump on this and take advantage of Westbrook. There was no lines out yet. But his last 2 games, that game against Denver in 25 minutes, he was 13, 7, and 9. And then against New Orleans in 32 minutes, he was 18, 8, and 8. He's putting up 130 points per 100 shot attempts. In the last game, it was crazy. He had a 64.3 assist percentage in the last game. So 2/3 of LA's buckets were assisted by Westbrook. So
yeah.
I like it. There's no line out yet. I don't know exactly the play, but I'm going to get something in on Westbrook tonight.
Yeah, I would look at a triple double. He's going to nail it one of these days. He's flirting with it.
You're probably right. That probably is the play tonight. I bet you.
You had those numbers flipped. Denver was 18, 8, and 8.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So he missed it by 2 and 2, and then New Orleans was 13, 7, and 9. So he missed it by 3 and 1. But he only played 25 minutes in that game.
Yeah.
So
yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I like him. Maybe par. I don't know, something. But
something.
I noticed his energy was solid too.
Yep.
All right, I had one play. It was on the Jazz side. We got Clarkson over 4.5 assists. Done it 7 of 9 games. His last 3 games, he was at 6, 7, and 8. So I think he's a solid play for that.
All right.
Well, we're on. An hour, right?
Yeah, I think we need to end this before we go over an hour.
Yeah, if we go another 30 seconds, we're going to implode like the Nets. So
Yes.
let's call it a day and enjoy some of these games and see you
All
tomorrow.
right. I'll talk to you later. Good work.